Hey everybody, I'm Janine and welcome to my bonus video where I'm going to show you how to create the gorgeous little elves that went on the Santa hat and present box cake. This video will be a little bit different. It'll be voice-overed and text prompted to guide you in the making of these gorgeous little elves. Let's go and get our modeling on. So the first elf I'm going to show you how to make is the sitting elf. I've taken a white piece of sugar paste and rolled it into a long snake shape, and then I just cut off the excess just to where I wanted the legs to go to. I've taken a red piece of sugar paste that I've passed through my pasta maker on a very thin setting, and then I pass it through the fettuccine machine to get my stripes. I then go ahead and attach the stripes to those little legs, just using a little bit of water. As you can see, with that piece of white modelling paste, I've basically just bent it in half. Make sure you don't bend it too far. You don't want it too skinny. It'll look a bit strange. Just taking those red pieces of modelling paste and folding them underneath. Doesn't have to be neat, of course, because he's sitting. Now on to making the body of the elf. I've just taken a green piece of modelling paste and rolled it into a cone shape, flattened it down and cut off the excess. Using a pinching motion, I'm pinching the base of the elf's top just to give it a bit more overhang. And once I'm happy with how it sits on the legs, I attach that with a bit of water and a toothpick. Now I recommend that you use a skewer, a longer skewer, so that the head has room to attach. I did that later, I should have done it earlier, but I didn't. Just using my Dresden tool, just making a few marks in the elf's top and taking my knife and running a line straight down the center where the little buttons can go. Now I've taken another piece of modelling paste, rolled it into a very thin snake shape and rolling it out flat, then cut out some triangular shapes with my X-Acto blade. This is going to become the collar for the elf's top. Cut it to the size that I want it, and then attach that to the top of the elf's top with a little bit of water. All the way around and cutting off the excess. Excuse my big fat head in the way. That's basically the body part done. We're just going to add a few little embellishments, some little buttons for down the center of his top. Just some yellow sugar paste rolled into tiny balls, popped on top with a bit of water, and then I just depressed them a little bit with a tiny little ball tool. Now I'm on to making the elves' shoes. I take some black modelling paste and roll it into a teardrop shape, flatten it at one end, and then just push up the other end to give it that little elfy hook. I attach those shoes to the little legs with just a bit of water, and then I take some more yellow modelling paste, roll out little balls just to give him the little bells at the end of his shoes. Now on to making our elves' face. This of course applies to all the elves. I've got a skin colour piece of modelling paste that I've rolled into sort of a bit of an oval, and then just below halfway down I've made marks with my thumbs where I want the eye area to be. I've taken a ball tool, made marks where I want the eyes to actually sit into, and then made a line underneath the nose shape that sort of has been formed by pressing the eye area, and cut that out. Used a Dresden tool to give it a bit more shape, and a ball tool to give it some little dimples on the side. Then I take a tiny piece of modelling paste and pop it on for the nose. I've used some 4mm sugar pearls here in black and just popped them in those little sockets for the eyes. And then I'm filling the mouth with some black modelling paste, flattening it out with my tiny little ball tool there. And to make a little tongue, the tiniest little piece of pink modelling paste that I'm also pushing inside the mouth. Looking cute already. Some tiny little teeth. I'm just taking a very thin snake of white modelling paste, pushing that into the inner mouth. Make sure it's a fair way back or it's going to look a bit odd, and add that to the mouth with a bit of water. Some petal dust on the cheeks, and his face is pretty much ready. Now to the body, to that cocktail stick, I'm adding a tiny little piece of the same colour sugar paste that I've used for the head to make a neck. Then I attach the head. I did come back in later and make that a longer skewer. I've also taken some brown gel colour and painted on some eyebrows. And now I'm taking another long snake of green modelling paste, and I'm just measuring up how long I want the arms to be. Take a small ball tool and make a hole in the end of each arm. And then with some water, I attach those arms to the little elf. To make the little hands, I'm just taking another piece of that flesh-coloured modelling paste, rolling it into a teardrop shape and flattening it down slightly. I've cut off the excess and then just made a little line on one side to separate the fingers from the thumb. And then I just sort of squash them down again so they're not so harsh. With that hole that we made in the arm, I'm adding a little bit of water and attaching the hand. And I wanted this one up near his face, so I'm just attaching his hand to his face with a little bit of water. I'll go ahead and do the same on the other side. Now we have to make his hair, so I've taken a piece of modelling paste in a sort of a brownie colour that was actually rolled into a ball that was slightly smaller than his head. Then I flatten it into a disc and just make sure I measure it on his head to make sure it fits all the way over. Looks a bit like a helmet right now, but I just push that over his head and cut out where I want the fringe line to be. And I've just attached that with a little bit of water also. I take my Dresden tool, make some lines in the hair to make it a little bit more hair-like, and that's pretty much it. There he is, ready for his little hat, which I'm making now. So I've got another piece of the green modelling paste that I've rolled into sort of a short fat cone, and then on the base area I'm making a hole and then using my finger sort of like a clay pot to open up the base of that. And then I go around just pinching and pushing until I'm happy with the shape. And then I pop that on his head with a little bit of water. As you can see, it was a bit warm. I've got sticky modelling paste all over my nails. Once again, a little ball of the yellow modelling paste, and that goes on top of his hat. To make his little ears, I've just taken some of that flesh-coloured modelling paste once again, made little teardrop shapes, flattened them out, and then popped them on the side of his head with a little bit of water. How cute is he? Just to finish him off, a little bit of gold on all the yellow parts to make him a bit more sparkly. And there he is, the cute little elf. Now I won't take you through every step with these guys because I've shown you them already. So you make the shoes first for our standing elf and then attach some long skewers through those shoes. I've taken some white modelling paste, rolled it into a snake shape and put it against the legs to see what length I would like. I pre-made a hole in those pieces of modelling paste and then popped them over those skewers. I'm putting a little bit of water on top and then adding a little extra piece of modelling paste on top to secure the body. I've added another couple of skewers and now I am adding the body. We made the body exactly the same as I made it for the sitting elf. You go ahead and finish off the standing elf in exactly the same way as I finished the sitting elf. To make our hanging elf, I've made an armature for the elf. Now I made it to look a little bit like a stick person, if that makes sense. The footage will probably explain it better than I can. So that's two pieces of wire, sort of twisted in the center with two legs, two arms. Now I'm taking an extra piece of wire and just threading it through the arms there, twisting that, and then I end up twisting the arms back around. That's somewhere for us to put the head. See, little stick figure. And then of course covered my entire armature in aluminium tape to make sure it was food safe. Not that you're probably gonna eat him, but you know. Then basically with the hanging elf, everything is pushing the modelling paste onto the armature. So firstly I did the legs with the white. Pushing it around, smoothing it on until you're happy with the size and the shape. This one is a little bit more fiddly, but well, it's well worth it because come on, he's so cute. Then I did the same with the stripes as we did with the sitting elf and that you will do with the standing elf. Then with the body, I made exactly the same shape as I did with the last two elves, but I cut a big line down the center so that I could push that over the armature. It does get a little untidy, but you can just rub out the excess. The line down the center, the lines on the side, exactly the same as I showed you with the first elf. Now I've just attached one arm this time, the arm that has the hook in it that will be hanging off the hat, because I need room to put the little head with the angle he's sort of hanging. If I put the other arm on now, it would be in the way of the head. So once again, I've attached that little bit of modeling paste for the neck, attached the head, and then after that, I went in and created the other arm. Of course, I went ahead and did exactly the same thing as I did with the other elves to finish him off. And that, my friends, is it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget it is a matching bundle to the Santa hat and present box cake tutorial that is on my page also. Remember though that you can always apply the same modelling techniques to any figurine you wish. And until I see you next time, it's time for you to go and get your cake on. Bye.